Okay, in this video, we are going to actually access different characters inside the string, sometimes called indexing. The term slicing is basically more relevant to arrays, lists, or actually the mutable structures, but we will see. I'm just comparing because you may listen this term slicing again and again, but really it is indexing. But we will see the indexing or slicing sometimes is used. These two terms are used interchangeably. We will see the examples of slicing in detail in lists and in more detail in NumPy arrays. But here you just think that indexing and slicing are the same things. Index. So for example, I have this A, let's say this is A array A, and I want to access its fourth element. Here the fourth character element is E. By the way, this A is a variable. If I want to access the very first character, the indexing, the number, the positioning starts from the integer 0. That's the first character. So if I want to print out of it, that will print G. If I access, for example, if I write the index 3, what do we mean? That means the fourth element. The fourth element is E. What will be printed? What will be printed if I access the fourth element, or the index 4? If I access this thing, a space will be printed, and you will be seeing nothing, because when a space is printed, actually nothing colorful is printed there, and you might be thinking, oh, nothing is printed, nothing have been accessed. Actually, a space character have been accessed. So yeah, more we can actually access a substring inside a string as well. For example, we want to access, for example, a substring starting from index 3 and all the way up to index 8, but does not include the index 8. So it will include the character at index 3, which is E, character at index 4, which is space. Let me write space in this way. Character at index 5, which is O, character at index 6, next character, which is F, then a space, which is 7, and then the character at 8. So this is not included to be accessed. This is included. This is inside. This is included. This is not included. So we can access a substring. So starting from 3, ending at 8. Let's see an example, and we'll come back to this slide again after a few minutes. So let's say we have a string S. Let's say, how are you? And who are you? Let's say. So let's say that's a string. Okay. And what we really want is we want to access, for example, we want to access the element. To access the elements, you have to write the square brackets. That's a standard notation in Python. Whenever you have a collection and you want to access different elements, that collection might be a string. That collection later on we will see might be a list, maybe a tuple, dictionary, maybe a set, maybe an NumPy array, maybe a pandas structure. I mean anything that is a collection. Normally it is accessed by, if it has different elements and we want to index them, the indexing notation is square brackets. And indexing always starts from 0 rather than 1 in Python. There are some languages in which the indexing starts from 1. For example, MATLAB, the indexing starts from 1, but in Python and in several other languages, the indexing starts from 0, which has some benefits over starting with 1. It has some benefits. So starting with 0 is okay. So let's say we want to access element at index 5. The element at index 5 is actually the 6th element in the string starting from 0. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, 6th. So R will be printed. So let's see. R is printed. Let's check the type of this return value. Let's check the type of this this one element, which is R. What is the type of it? So type of different elements in a string, different characters in a string. What are the types? So what is the type of it? So the type is also string. So each and every character is also of string type. In some other languages, the type might be a character. Character is another type, but in Python, each and every one character is also a string. More than one characters is also string, as long as they are accessed from a string. Okay, let's access, for example, the element number 3 to element number, let's say, 8. So the result is R. So element number 3, not 3, actually starting from index 3, which means the fourth character, which is space, and then RE, and then space, and then we finish. If we, for example, move to from 3 to 9, let's say, and the value will be RY, or we may move to from, for example, we may start from the very beginning. So for example, index 0, we may end at the index 10, but not including the 10. So the result is how are U and I mean YO and not the U included, because that's the index number 10, and index number 10, the last index, is not included. Great. We can have negative indices in strings as well. So a negative index is just the indexing from the right side, not from the left side. For example, a negative index, so -1 points to the last character, for example, U. Similarly, -2 points to the second last character, and so on. So -1, let's say, it will access U. And similarly, we have -3, and that will access Y. Or we may have start from, let's say, -8 and go till -3. That means go back to -8 index and then move to -3 index. Okay, and -3 in this case. Let's see what's the result. R. Why is that? Why R? Oh, this R. I guess this R. Let's check it out. So this is U. This is -1, -2, -3. That's index number 3. So 3 is not included. -3 is not included, so it has to stop here. Okay, that's -4, -5, -6, -7, and -8. Oh, great. So that should be printed. It has printed. So let's say we have, rather than -8, we start from -12 and we reach to -3. So were. Okay, great. So we have negative indices as well. And by the way, this kind of fetching this kind of substring is sometimes called slicing. I mean, we are just fetching the slicing. Although the term slicing is much more popular in mutable data structures. What is a mutable data structure? What is an immutable data structure? Well, yeah, I should tell you right now. You cannot change any character in the string. That might look like a bad news for you, but once the string is created, the elements in the strings are not changeable. So for example, let's say at position number 1, you want to place a character, let's say E. That's not possible, and the reason is the string is a data structure. The string is a variable type, a data type that is immutable or unchangeable. Once created, you cannot change its contents. They stay fixed. You cannot change them. You cannot alter them. You cannot delete certain contents from it. I mean, once created, it stays as it is. You can copy this into another string. You can copy and paste, but you can get a substring and copy into another variable, for example. But the contents of S cannot be changed. So all the kind of data types in Python that are unchangeable, the contents are not changeable, they are called immutable, and string is immutable. So the term slicing makes much more sense, or it is more popular in the data structures that are mutable. Although you can use the term slicing, indexing both interchangeably, but it refers to fetching a substructure or substring. In this case, in the list, it will be a sublist or so on. So that's what slicing is. Yeah, great. Why don't we do some more fun with this string? Yeah, let me show you more fun with this string. More indexing. Let's say you start at index 0, you go to index 12, but not including 12, and then you take a jump of 2 rather than 1. What will it do is it will fetch all the characters starting from index 0 all the way to index 12, but not including 12. But it will take a jump of 2 rather than taking a jump of 2. So first character, then take a jump of 2, then pick a character, then take a jump of 2, and then pick a character. So it will actually pick every other character starting from 0. So let's see that. So for example, if you remember the string, that's the string. So it starts from H, fine. Then it skips O and go to W. Then it skips space and go to A. Then it skips R and go to E. Then it skips space and go to U. And then it skips O and go to U. And then the 12th achieved and we stop there. Wow. So the general way of slicing or indexing, the general way is you have a start index, start, then you have end index, and then you have a step size. If you do not mention the step size by default is 1 that we were doing already. If you do not mention the end, the default end is till the end, the total list size. If you do not mention the start, the default start is 0. For example, let me make that a comment and just practice a few. For example, let's start from 0. We do not mention the start. Let's start from 0 and go to 12. If we do not mention the starting index, that starts from the very beginning, 0, go till 12. Okay, great. If we do not mention, for example, we start from 3 and we do not mention the end, that means go till the end, starting from index 3, including the last character. Okay. If we do not mention the step, for example, if you start from 1, go till 12, and we do not mention the step, the default step is 1. Okay. There is one way of reversing the string. I mean, very beautiful way. I mean, you do not start the mention, you do not mention the start, you do not mention the end, and then just take a step of -1. In this particular way, the start and end index, they are just swapped, and you get the string reversed way. Wow. So that's the reverse string. Isn't that fancy? Yes, it is. Okay. A lot about indexing. You can find out the length of any string by using len function. You can find out the length of any substring if you want to, if you have a substring, using again a length function, len. That's okay. Okay, now we have seen how to access substrings and how we cannot change the elements of a string because it is immutable, but we can access them. We can just display them, we can analyze them, and so on. In the next video, we will see some functions that are supplied for string processing. What we can do with strings, and I mean, how can we manipulate those strings? Although we cannot manipulate the contents of a string, but we may copy a string, we may get a string, manipulate it, and save it to another variable, and what kind of functions that are available in string data structure, string data type. So let's see that in the next video. Hope to see you in the next video.